prosecution outlined how accounting practices did not.
What kind of likeness is that? If they were great artists, they'll be in a museum.
Evidence today may signal at least one.
I'm fucking fodder for cartoonists now.
Excellent. It's another Gutter Boys episode 89. Gutter Boys is a small press comics podcast about the ins, the outs, the highs, and the very deep, endless lows of making comics. I'm your host, JB, with my co-host, Cam.
What it do, baby?
Still recovering from COVID. Finally got my taste back, which is good.
Yeah, I guess if you're not on the Patreon, you don't know about JB's illness, but the motherfucker got. He finally got. He was with me.
It's a matter of time.
And we were in close proximity. I've tested twice, and somehow I don't have it, thankfully. But I have had it before, so I feel you. I'm glad your taste came back, though, because, yeah, that's really fucking terrible.
Yeah, it sucked. That was probably the worst part of it. Like, I felt bad maybe one night, but the worst of it was just not being able to taste anything.
Now,
that
was
sucked.
it gone completely, or was it just like fucked up? Like things didn't taste like as strong or tasted off?
No, it was just gone.
Fuck.
Like the only thing I could taste, quote unquote, is I could tell if something was salty or sweet or bitter, and that's it.
Yeah, like, and you couldn't even like taste it. You just like got the sensation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, see, I didn't lose my taste, thankfully, but
it was.
Damn.
It was like if someone was like holding your nose closed while you were eating stuff or drinking stuff. It sucked.
Awful.
Yeah. But that's gone and passed finally. So me and Jill, because she also had the same issue, because she got COVID. And then like a day after I stopped tasting stuff, she stopped tasting
did her
stuff.
shit come back?
Yeah, it's starting to slowly come back. So
good, yeah. I know I texted you this. My brother, his was gone for like 6 weeks plus.
Yeah, and I told you I'd kill myself.
Yeah, awful.
No, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. My nose is still a little plugged up, but not as bad as it was a couple of days ago when we were recording our bonus episode. But yeah, it's
or no, not even the bonus. That was this main feed.
Oh, that was this main feed. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
Which
Well, it was the main feed and the bonus.
Yeah. No, we didn't do a bonus.
We didn't do a bonus?
I don't think so. Did we do a bonus?
Or
oh yeah, we did about cards. Duh. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like incoherent because that was like peak when I was feeling shitty.
Yeah. Damn.
The things I do for your money, people.
Yeah.
Damn.
Speaking of, if you want to hear us get into cards, we bought cards while we were hanging out. We hung out over holiday break. The show went on an unexpected hiatus due to scheduling. That's why, sorry we missed a main feed there. We didn't put anything up. Hopefully you didn't miss us too much. We are back this week with Pat Aulisio, which you'll hear from him
Philly
on the
boy.
other. Yeah, you'll hear from him on the other side. New book coming out from Stranger Fanzine, and we get into all that on the back end of this. That said, though, we do have some shit to get into up front. So, before we get into that, though, let's go ahead and plug the Patreon. If you want to go to gutterboys.top or patreon.com/gutterboys, we do have different tiers. You can get bonus episodes on our off weeks on the main feed for $5 a month. For $10 a month, anything that we do physical, you will get as far as like specialty tiers. We do have an end of year zine coming out. You wouldn't be eligible for that, but all of our patrons, we definitely thank you. I've already started working on that. That said, we should get that to you shortly after the new year. And then I'll be working on getting that comic with Jazz printed as well for you all. And so you can get physical goods from us. And also there is a vault of 50 episodes that you can listen to with various guests from the show. Some of them are just us solo. Some have special guests that haven't even shown up on the main feed. So a lot of fun stuff to get into there. And this next coming Patreon episode is going to have the return of Ramon Villalobos and Gleb Melnikov. We're going to get into some end of the year movie reviews. That's what they want to do, but also talk about holiday shopping lists, just cool shit that we think you should buy for someone for Christmas. So all that's going down on our Patreon at gutterboys.top. And like I said, there's a vault of 2 years of content there. So yeah, throw us some money. So it is the return of shoutouts. We've been inactive on these, but I finally posted some. Alrighty, so if you do want to send us comics to read, we do shout you out here on the show and post you on our Instagram. First one came from friend of the show, David Caldwell, sent over his new sci-fi romance comic, Heat, Death, Love. You can grab a copy from him on Instagram at TheProphetDC.
We also received a comic from friend of the show and advertiser Clusterfucks Comics. They sent over the newest issue of Fugu Comics.
Yeah.
We always enjoy getting new stuff from Clusterfucks, aka Cameron Hathaway. Thank you, Cameron. Shout out to Cam.
Yeah.
Cam 2.
Definitely appreciate it, holding it down out there on the West Coast. We also got a note with this next one, which I will read here from John Reynolds. He sent over a couple copies of Adorable Murderers, which has the tagline in the title, Killer Cartoons from the Webcomic A Fistful of Babies. That is actually his Instagram, at A Fistful of Babies, yes. And he did send a note over. Hey JB and Cam, here's 2 copies of the first year of my webcomic A Fistful of Babies, self-published through Evil Amazon because I'm dumb and other things. Hope you enjoy. Keep up the great comics and podcast. Best, John. So yeah, if you do want a copy of this, just go ahead and go to Amazon.com and... you know, it is print on demand, but it actually does have nice production value, to be fair. A lot of cool newspaper-ish strips going on there. Pretty funny. If you want to sample, check out our post on Instagram.
And then we got a new one from friend of the show, Eric Jasek, who sent over his newest comic, The UFO Bros, issue 1, Beatniks in Space. More of the same from Eric, which is not a bad thing. So thank you, Eric, for the new comic. We appreciate you.
What is that, like his 4th comic that he sent us this year alone?
I think so, yeah. I think
fucking workhorse.
This year, he's been really pumping them out and then sending them to us.
Yeah, hell yeah. Keep it up, dude. I really like this last one. Pretty funny, stoner comedy, UFO Bros. Read it right before we started recording, so definitely looking forward to issue 2 on that one.
We also have from the 3rd Cameron on this shout out, Cameron Savala, sent over Liver Mortisine. I have not read it yet. Cam, have you gotten a chance to flip through this?
Yeah, so it's a really like fucked up story about, I'll just go ahead and like spoil the first page only. It's about a guy who talks about how it's his first day at work and he's killed someone. So if you want a twisted ass comic, hit up Cameron Zavala. He's over on Instagram at obscure__comics. There might be a 3rd underscore in there, but it's obscure__comics. So definitely hit him up there.
Is he an IDF soldier? Is that his job? I don't understand. What?
No, I know he's a Clusterfucks guy. That's how I've been aware of him. So this is the first time
I'm
he's
talking about
sent
the character in his comic.
Oh, yeah. Because it's his first day of fuck. Yeah. No, this is like some sus shit. Like it unfolds. Gotcha, he caught a body. Yeah.
Okay,
his job isn't killing. He just caught a body on his first day, and it's the story of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, if you want to send over your comics to us, please do. Email us at gutterboyspodcast@gmail.com or send us a DM at gutterboyspod on Twitter or Instagram, and we will send you over our mailing address.
It's true. We are more than happy to take a look at your stuff, plug you, and shout you out. So we appreciate you all working in the trenches alongside us. And, not necessarily physically next to us, of course, but you get what the fuck I'm saying. But yeah, keep sending us stuff in, and we're happy to, help spread the word about it and get you guys an audience by using our platform. We appreciate small press. Despite what the haters say, we support small press.
Yeah. It's not like we do a show about small press. The show you're listening to right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so let's get into news. We got some hot news.
Yeah, hot news. Actually, a real quick, a plug and kind of news. Previous guest friend of the show, Noah Van Sciver, just announced that he's actually returning to the floppy world and going into mainstream comic shops if they decide to order it. Maple Terrace is coming out through Uncivilized Books. Looks like he's doing 3 issues, 32 pages each, and looks like it's more autobio stuff from the One Dirty Tree universe, him growing up with his siblings. So definitely subscribe to that via your local comic shop or uncivilizedbooks.com.
Is he still doing his YouTube show?
Yeah, he is. He had, actually, get this. So all the fucking comic shows, he landed Dan Clowes. Clowes actually showed up on his YouTube.
Nice.
So, if you want to see a recent Dan Clowes interview, check out Noah Van Sciver's YouTube show, Sleeper Show.
Very rare interview.
Yeah, he came out for the complete 8th Ball. The paperback version just got released through Fana. It's a giant brick. I kind of like the hardback version better with the slip case. Has like the different changing paper stocks, but I get it. It's more economical. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but news, I guess.
News. Okay. All right. Really just 2 stories that are pretty much the same thing, really.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess it's one story. We just have like a lot of different shit about the same shit.
Yeah. There's different sources.
Mm-hmm.
So
floodgates open, people.
This headline comes from bleedingcool.com. Comic book publishers not paying comic book creators, which I feel like this is a reoccurring headline, but whatever. In the article, they write that Will Robson, comic book artist on Great Lakes Avengers, Big Trouble in Little China, Spider-Man, Deadpool, Spider-Ham, Secret Warriors, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of stuff I've never read, but...
clout titles for sure, though. Like Spawn Kills Everyone, Fantastic Four. He's quote-unquote reputable.
Right.
In the
he's a quote-unquote pro.
Yes.
And he tweeted out, has it become industry standard to pay creators ridiculously late for their work? Yes, Will. Yeah, where have you been?
Yeah.
I've struggled all year with all the large companies I work for to get paid on the agreed time. I'm talking months late. It's sad now. Wait, hold on. I got a stupid pop-up ad that's not going away. All right,
You're
here
good.
we go. It's sad how nervous I am to even talk about this publicly in fear of being blacklisted for future work, but I've heard so many horror stories from other freelance creators recently about fighting for their paycheck, and I need to vent this all out and hopefully raise some awareness to make serious change. Yeah, this motherfucker wrote a manifesto because if you scroll down on this thing, it's like half the fucking page. It's wild. But,
it's like a Keanu meme. I'm not reading all this.
Yeah, very
very happy for you.
Or I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, he's just mainly talking about like how hard it is to hit deadlines and how he works 10 to 15 hour days, 5 to 7 days a week to hit, ridiculous industry standard deadlines, which, we definitely hear you and understand you, but this is just standard conditions for being a cartoonist. It sucks dick, but what can you do if you're working on a monthly title? That is not going to change anytime soon, despite the fact that it should, but we're going to kind of streamline this, I guess, and not really get off on that side road there.
Right. Also, Zach Thompson, who I think is a writer, right? Is he
Zach
a writer?
Thompson, let me see here. I'm pulling up his Twitter bio. It's probably going to have a Ukraine flag.
Okay.
No.
Ready?
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's a writer. You're right. Okay. DC, Marvel, Aftershock, Mad Cave, Vault.
Yeah, so he doesn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and skip what he said. I don't
because
think
you know
writers
what?
Should be paid. That is the hill I'm going to die on.
But we need to actually read this one because the publisher.
I know. I'm fucking kidding. All right.
Yeah.
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
Well, hey, I didn't know if you were doing a bit because,
I've had 2 books completely fall apart this year because of late payments, one of which took me over a year of dedicated research to even script. Said publisher then optioned one of my books without telling me or the team at the time and still said they couldn't pay. It's December, and a lot of creators are heading into Christmas with thousands owed to them and no real recourse to get paid for their work. It's disgusting. It's clear to me that our industry is in a state of huge transition and a lot of smaller publishers may not make it to the other side.
Yeah, fucking welcome to our world. Smaller publishers struggling.
This all doesn't really read as news.
Yeah.
I get this is like supposed to be a big deal in like comics journalism, but all of this reads as shit that's been going on for like well over the last like 5 years.
Yes. This one here ties in. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Actually, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm curious if the reason why this is getting attention now is because enough people that are like in, I guess, like higher clout positionings can talk about it, and now
yeah,
it
because
matters.
it's happening to them now.
Yeah, right. Which is like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of bullshit.
I mean,
But,
shit rolls downhill.
right,
and
right,
motherfucker,
yeah.
I'm sorry that it's finally rolling by your little village or
Right.
whatever.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's fucked up that people aren't getting paid on time or
Yes,
at all.
agreed.
But also, like, fuck Joe Quinones. Like, honestly, who fucking cares? Like, I'm laughing that you're not getting paid. How about that? How about we talk about how it's funny that you're not getting paid after fucking years of other people not getting paid and no one gave a fucking shit. So
right. It's like, oh, well, I'm sorry you never worked for Boom Studios and you went straight to fucking Image,
right.
Not Image, but Image is actually pretty good about paying people from what I understand. Well, okay, never mind. I can't drop that scoop. Sorry. No, but going back to Will Robson and Zach Thompson, who we just read their quotes about this. Alex DeCamp Be Serious, if you remember from our last coverage of her. I forgot what she did, but I remember dropping that name on her. She straight quote tweeted both of these and blacked out the names, but Bleeding Cool just straight up doxed them.
Hell yeah.
But no, Alex posted screenshots of what we just read and wrote, "This is at Aftershocks Comics, one of the companies like Vault that we said are just straight up money laundering, probably, but allegedly." That said, she wrote, "This is Aftershock Comics. They owe friends of mine tens of thousands, and I've been doling out contact details of California lawyers for the arts like it's Christmas candy. This is shameful behavior, and people need to know. Also, their rights deal sucks." And then she added Aftershocks Comics, "Stop acting like a bunch of clowns and pay your goddamn freelancers or declare bankruptcy." And then she posts a link for cartoonists and writers that are owed money for lawyers that work pro bono. So that's pretty sick. If you want to follow her on Twitter, at Alex DeCampi, or you can at least look at the thread. It's from December 9th. There's another thing here where, she deleted the tweet, it looks like, or maybe I'm just not seeing it. But she talks about how our boy Donnie Cates got fucked up on his IP. So any comic that he's done for Aftershock, he doesn't own. So RIP, bozo. Should have fucking looked at that contract a little closer.
Yes.
Yes, but Aftershocks should definitely pay their creators. There is more where another publisher gets pulled into the mix, though.
Joe Quinones writes, "Waited recently over a full year on one publisher before getting paid and currently still waiting payment, running on 6 months now from a second prominent publisher who has largely ghosted me relating to two separate covers, should be covers, man, that's plural, buddy, I crafted for them last summer. Know of another artist who's drawn several full issues and covers for a miniseries that we're working on without even one paycheck. Yet their publisher will come knocking for the next cover of the next issue, then threaten to move on to another artist if not replied back to with expedience." Also, real quick, Bleeding Cool, your fucking ads suck dick. Like, what the fuck is this? It's like literally just blocking half of the fucking article, and you can't even close it out.
Yeah,
what the fuck
terrible.
is that? I don't fucking care about, what is it, Chevrolet? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, comic fans are about to buy a new Chevy
comic fans
truck.
Are huge fans of giant Chevy trucks.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
Just,
Anyway,
hauling long boxes while it rains in the back of your pickup.
Dude, that would be a gray car commercial, like a working man pulling out long boxes from the back. That would have to be Nate.
I was gonna say it's Nate Grixley.
Yeah, Grixley. Oh my god, he's like all rugged looking. He looks like a lumberyard worker. That would rock. He wipes the sweat off of his brow from going through hundreds of issues of Spider-Man in a long box.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, as a follow-up, though, Joe Quinones did do a follow-up tweet and wrote, "The first publisher I won't name because I believe it was an honest mistake. The second publisher is Valiant. Bloodshot and Archer and Armstrong covers I did just over 6 months ago. No payment. Largely no correspondence except to kick the can down the road with a 'we're working on this.'" This is actually kind of crazy to me because Joe Quinones is actually like a pretty big artist. He works regularly at DC. Take him or leave him. I thought he was cool in that Dial H for Hero book, but the Batman 89 book didn't do too much for me. But I mean, he's kind of like an it dude, and if Valiant's ghosting that dude, there's no telling what's going on to the people,
no one's safe,
quote unquote,
baby.
Yeah, lower on the totem pole.
Yeah.
So, this isn't like the big two. It doesn't seem like it's, well, actually, I mean, that first one said all companies. So, I mean, that kind of implicates
They're
the
also,
big two.
I noticed there's a lot of talk here where they're not mentioning the publisher still.
Yes, no, exactly. Because
So-
they're all afraid of being like, oh no, we'll never work for them again. Well, guess what? Fucking name them and hold them accountable and make this whole fucking place better for all of us.
Not get paid again. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no, Vault's
kind
gonna
of
see my
cunt
tweet
mindset
and
is
pay me
that?
now. Like,
What kind of fucking loser ass? What is that? That's
Yeah.
so sad. Man, comics, this shit is a joke.
Yeah.
Y'all should be fucking clowned, honestly, for this shit. That's wild.
yeah, so, I guess just moral of the story, look at what you're signing contract wise. And, this sucks, but maybe naming the publishers will help us get out of it.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I don't know. I mean, a lot of cowards online doing a lot of talking in the DMs, not a lot of naming publicly.
Yeah,
But-
because they don't want to be branded to be quote unquote difficult to work with or whatever.
Yeah, look, I mean, fucking Aubrey's back in the fold. It took him a good 4 or 5 years of fighting through hell, but he made it back, Mr. 9/11, so you can too. Love you,
Damn.
Aubrey.
Yeah, it's so wild to me. Like, and Aubrey really kind of made his own corner. Like
Yeah.
through Kickstarter and through just fundraising and kind of finding his audience that way.
And now he's back in the house with
Yeah.
with Dark Horse, They were just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, we'd rather have this guy in the castle pissing out than pissing on the castle." So,
Right.
and I bring up Aubrey mainly because like he was working in the space that these creators are working in, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he I'm saying, hey, name him and hold him accountable. Aubrey just made a 9/11 joke. There's not really much equating the two, but I'm just saying Aubrey wasn't a coward. Don't
Yeah.
be a coward.
Right.
So yeah, hey, I guess before we get out of here and get to our interview with Pat Aulisio, next episode is the 3rd annual Pimp and Simp of the Year Awards. So keep your eyes peeled on our Instagram stories for a form to submit your, nominations for Pimp and Simp of the Year. Or you can email us at gutterboyspodcast@gmail.com and we will read those on the show. So if you do not want us to read your submissions, please say do not read, because if you're trying to do bits and shit, we're going to read who says it. And if you don't want that shit read, then don't fucking, or actually, how did we do that last year? Didn't we just read nominations? Like we didn't actually say their names.
Yeah, I don't think we named anyone.
Okay, so we're not going to read your name. So yeah,
I think you just added that on now.
Sorry. Yeah, that would make it so long. So just fucking do what you did last year and just send us your nominations. We won't read your name associated with them. No snitching. So yeah, I switched it up real quick there. But yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that is it. Cam, do you have any feelings towards this year's nominations? Do you have anyone in mind?
Yeah, but we're gonna get to that next episode, man. So let's leave them hanging.
Oh, I
But
know.
I'm
I'm just
saying,
trying to see if you've got any, in the bag already.
Yeah, I think that I'll leave a cryptic hint. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Pimp of the Year. You can cash that and take it to the bank, baby.
There you go. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be joined with our guest for this evening, Paul Quinones.
Yeah, Paul. Pablo.
Pat Aulisio. So stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Meow. Sid the Cat magazine is out now. If you've ever been to an amazing rock and roll show and thought, I wish I could experience this moment again, but in comic form, then Sid the Cat magazine is for you. Fiercely independent show promoters Sid the Cat have joined forces with comics journalist Andrew Greenstone to bring you an ongoing publication that documents the SoCal indie rock scene. This stunning 52-page full-color magazine features comics, articles, photos, and illustrations from a rotating cast of local illustrators and writers. It's a celebration of Sid's artists and venues and supports those keeping the bleeding edge of the indie music scene alive. Our first issue covers musical artists Big Thief, Illuminati Hotties, Mike Kroll, Fucked Up, Finn Lilly, Katie Kirby, Kate LeBon, Cursive, Christian Lee Hudson, No Win, and so many more. If you are a fan of comics, indie music, zines, rock reports, or community by the way of culture, order a copy now at sidthecat.com/Sid-Zine. Again, that's sidthecat.com/Sid-Zine.
What do a pair of deadly assassins, a beefy pile of roided-up high school football players, a zombie outbreak, cute dragons, and a himbo barbarian have in common? You can find them all in the upcoming pages of the Santos Sisters. That's right, Ambar and Alana are back for more gripping adventures. Once again, offset press printed in full color on your favorite decadent newsprint. Prestigious publication. The Comics Journal loved the first issue, calling it a highly entertaining comic. And Katie and Sally from the Thick Lines podcast called it a masterpiece and more than they deserve. And who are we to disagree? The Santos Sisters is available now. Don't miss out. Ask your favorite comic book retailer to add it to your pull list today or find it online at santossisters.com.
Rust Belt Review is a quarterly comics lit magazine featuring serialized and short-form comics from some of the most exciting cartoonists in the small press scene today. Volume 1 features work from Gutter alums M.S. Harkness, Audra Stang, and Caleb Orecchio, along with work by Andrew Greenstone, Sean Knickerbocker, and Juan Jose Fernandez. You can order your copy of Rust Belt Review today by going to rustbeltreview.org. Enter in promo code GUTTER to receive $2 off your order. Again, that website is rustbeltreview.org, promo code GUTTER.
Delphinium Comic Art is an original art website for some of the best cartoonists in the business. They currently represent Remy Boydell, Marie Capelle-France, Nicole Gu, Jonathan Hill, Emma Hunsinger, Casey Nowak, Micah Song, and Tilly Walden. Delphinium Comic Art gives fans the opportunity to own an original piece of art from their favorite comics and support the artists that they love. In their short time in business, they've already shipped many iconic pages out to hardcore fans across the globe. Don't miss out on your chance to own a one-of-a-kind piece of history. Check out their website, atheniumcomicart.com, and type in Gutter Gang at checkout to receive free shipping on your first order. Again, the website is atheniumcomicart.com, and the code is GutterGang.
Who loves underground comics? Everybody loves underground comics, and if you know people who don't love underground comics and only read the mainstream comics, immediately report them to your local comic book store and find them with copies of Clusterfucks Comics. Clusterfucks Comics is a black and white underground anthology comic zine featuring some of the best underground comics creators today. Creators like Cameron Zavala, Eric Jasek, Brian Judge, Miguel Aguilar, Adam Yeater, Jason Cavelli, Umberto Tonella, Anna Peterson, Tony DePasquale, Drew B. Hall, and so many more. Issues 1 through 4 are available now, with the 5th issue debuting in early 2023. Purchase your copies today at clusterfuckscomics.bigcartel.com. And that's comics with an X. Clusterfucks Comics. Comics you can clusterfucks with.
Morning, Gary. Morning, Marianne. Need a menu? Nah, I'll just have the usual. You sure do love your eggs and coffee, Gary. Best way to start your morning, Marianne. Well, that and an issue of Town and County. What's that? Town and County is a new comic series written and drawn by cartoonist Alex Nall. He's that guy that wrote them books about teaching and that Mr. Rogers feller. Oh, he was such a nice man. The first issue is 36 pages of black and white comic stories with beautiful color covers and features 6 stories about folks in our little township here in Illinois, like Susie Barber, the house cleaner that uncovers her client's dirty laundry, if you know what I mean, and Stanley Pepper, that big feller that just lost his job and took to drinking every night at Bugs's Tavern. Well, ain't that something? Town and County is published by Ivy Terrace Press, headquartered in Chicago. Chicago? Who would want to live there? So dirty. Each issue comes with a copy of the Hometown Hero, our little town's newsletter, and it's only $8. $8? Where can I get it, Gary? You can order a copy of Town and County on the internet at storeenvy.com/Alex Nall Comics. Oh, there's your breakfast, Gary. Thanks, Marianne. Nothing like a cup of coffee and a good comic book.
The Last Aviatrix is a post-nuclear adventure comic
by independent, Los Angeles-based cartoonist Buster Cagle. The story follows Summer, our last aviatrix, who pilots the sole surviving airplane, a nuclear-powered B-29. As she travels the ruined world finding ways to survive and help humanity, while dealing with the imminent threat of the Atom-born, a rare breed of atomic wizards that want to see her out of the sky, her mission becomes complicated when she accidentally picks up Henry, an Atom-born child who wields incredible power, and Clementine, a berserker on a quest for vengeance. Can our aviatrix survive this ruined and irradiated wasteland? Every issue can be read for free on bustercagle.com/comics. Paper copies can be ordered as well, but, you know, you can still read it for free. If you like wizards or warplanes, go check it out.
Now, back to our program.
And welcome back from the break. Today, long-time making guest here on the show, we've got Pat Aulisio from Philly. Well, I don't know if you're from Philly, but you're based in Philly right now, correct?
Yeah, I lived here for 17 years. I'm from you can say I'm from Pennsylvania, but yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, you might know Pat from his work over at Stranger Fanzine and self-published work. He's also showed up in Screwjob. That was when I first ran into his work. Most recently published Wrestling 2-in-1, the Zone Keeper collection. Had a strip in Vacuum Decay. I'm probably forgetting something here. Delphinium, I think I had written down as well.
Yeah, that's the new one.
Hell yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about. Actually, we're going to kind of talk about it all, but I guess first and foremost, we always kind of lob it up here. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right, you know. It's getting over the holiday, or getting ready for the holiday season, I guess.
Right, yeah, like fucking Thanksgiving ends, and it's like, I got to do the same bullshit in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always just like money issues. It always comes this time of year.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. So do you mean like as far as like bringing income in as an artist, or do you mean because you're spending on everybody else for gifts, or a combination of both?
Pretty much both. I mean, for my day job, I do freelance teaching, and
okay,
I have off for I get off for like a long time. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna work like 1 day a week for most of the month up until like, you know, the week before Christmas, but I don't come back till like mid-January. Always have this like long break, and it's like the same time of year that I need to buy presents and all that stuff.
For sure. So, I mean, it's kind of weird because like I do feel like, you know, we're approaching the holiday season, and this is the time when like everybody's kind of like, oh, let's, you know, do commissions, and you know, because it is kind of hard, like I guess if you're a freelance artist, to get people to spend their money on art. Well, at least, you know, it seems that way when they have to like put their money elsewhere during this season. Do you all like have any kind of, you know, I guess this is kind of just getting off on a tangent, but
yeah, let's just talk about money problems immediately.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's the real shit though. But I mean, no, I mean, do you all like kind of anticipate and prepare for this in advance, or is it kind of just, you know, by the seat of your pants? I guess there's really no way. It's all ebbs and flows, no rhyme or reason.
Yeah. I mean, I got my, you know, I know my schedule because I make a lot of money in the summertime. So I try to save a lot of money in the summertime. And then,
yeah,
you know, now I have extra money I could, to cushion me this time of year.
For sure. Yeah. It's all about budgeting out. So you did mention, you know, the new book here, Delphinium. Let's go ahead and get into that.
Sure.
Yeah. Is this self-published? I should have done more research here. I believe it's self-published, right?
No, Strangers Fanzine.
Strangers did this one. Okay. Yeah. You did Cole County there before, right?
Yeah. I did that.
Great comic.
It's like a horror comic from like 2 years ago.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I didn't know. I saw it on your site, so I didn't know if it was like I thought it was self-published, but cool. So this is the second book you've done over there with Eddie?
Yeah.
Right on. And I did notice on the cover that it said part 1. How many installments you planning on this being?
Well, definitely 2. It was like ideally a 2-part story, but I have a very open ending, you know? So maybe 3 or 4. But definitely 2. I wrote it out as 2, but then like as I'm finishing up I'm almost done drawing volume 2 right now, and it's very open. I don't want to spoil anything, but it has an open ending, I guess. Put it that way. So
right on.
I could make a 3rd, maybe. We'll see.
Are you doing the future issues over at Strangers as well?
Yeah. I mean, I said I'll definitely do a 2-part story, but I have I always got a list of other comics I want to do after this too as well. So I don't know if I'll jump right into a 3rd book of it after I draw this. I have a couple other things I want to do.
Well, you are a workhorse. I mean, I feel like you're constantly working on something and you've always got something out. I feel like there's not a season that goes by that I don't see a Pat Aulisio book. And then you also, I was subscribed to the Zone Keeper subscription series. So in addition to, the regular books, you were also doing, a subscription-based comic as well. So, I mean, you're constantly just working and pumping out stuff. Are you just go at all times? Or do you kind of have more of a meticulous way that you approach all this stuff?
Yeah, I guess I am kind of just go because I do a monthly newsletter too that I've done all year this year, and then I just promoted I'm going to do another subscription next year aside from my other books. But yeah, I always just try to have kind of like a bigger idea type of book like Delphinium, and then at the same time I do like a kind of a weirder kind of a more abstract book that I'll self-publish on the side when I'm always like working on something bigger. So I've just always had at least 2 things going at once. Like that's just the way I've always been. So like it looks like I'm doing a lot of, well, I don't know how to explain it, but I always got 2 things going at once. So always got multiple pots on the stove.
Now, as far as like, getting your stuff done, I guess to kind of talk about how the sausage is made, do you set like a schedule for yourself, or are you just kind of like disciplined enough to know I'm going to get this stuff done?
I mean, I set a schedule for myself, but I like never really stick to it. And I always, break my own deadlines all the time. But yeah, I mean, I try to be schedule and meticulous about it. But, it's the same thing like when I write in a lot of my books too. I just know I'm going to, add in 6 or 7 pages, or I'll get to page 5 and you're like, you know what, after this page, there's going to be 2 other pages that are really going to be pages 6 and 7. So I'll write a script that's like 24 pages, but I know in the end it's going to be 32 pages. But I don't really know when I'm going to add in filler pages or like think that I need another sequence. Yeah, I forget your question already.
No, you're okay. Just the approach to the workload and whatnot. You pretty much answered the question though. So
sure.
JB, you got any process stuff while we're here?
Yeah, what's your process like? What's that process like, Pat?
Let me think. I don't know. I guess just like a traditional kind of process. I'll write a script and then thumbnail and then pencil it and then ink it.
Oh, so you're like you're pretty like old school then.
Yeah.
Going pretty straightforward.
So. Yeah, and then I put it in Photoshop and I'll color it and put it together there, and then I print it.
So is the only digital stuff coloring?
Yeah, sometimes I'll add in collage stuff here and there. But yeah, mostly just for coloring. I have like original pages. I mean, yeah, sometimes I've been doing like backgrounds. Like a lot of the backgrounds in Delphinium are like done in Photoshop. So like those original pages, they'll just have like the character and stuff, but just like with white background. And I do all that stuff there. But yeah, I mainly hand draw all my shit. And so I have
I feel like I remember reading some older stories and the color elements almost felt like they were done on paper and then scanned in and then, messed with digitally, or was that not the case?
That's exactly the case, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like with my books, Survive 300 Millions. Yeah, well, that's why I do more shit in Photoshop now, because those books that I put out, Survive 300 Million with Retrofit.
Yeah.
Each of those pages had like a drawing page and then 3 pieces of like vellum on top of it. So each page I had to scan in 4 pieces of paper.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
That makes
and then
sense,
I was just like, man, this is like fucking hundreds of sheets of. This is stupid. So then I do all that shit just like in Photoshop, pure Photoshop now with my Wacom tablet, and or I'll just draw with my mouse a lot too. I'll just be sloppy about it.
True. Okay.
All right. I want to talk wrestling as well. Are you still watching, Pat?
Yeah, I'm vicariously. I watch wrestling. I mean, I feel like I watch more wrestling clips online instead of like whole shows. But I did. I watch AEW and WWE pay-per-views. I don't necessarily watch them every week.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll get into that here in a little bit then, because I know your subject matter kind of goes in that way.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get into, I guess, like the historical part, you got any more process shit, JB? Or you?
I was gonna say I could add in like when. In Grid Observer, a lot of that stuff was hand-cut collage, too. So
okay.
because that's black and white. Like all that was original. Like I drew that like in the woods, like literally, because I was like peak COVID and I moved to the woods, and that's just
no shit.
all like glue stick and like Xerox machine shit that I would like fuck with and like cut up and put on the paper.
So you were doing like the old school, like moving the paper while it was being copied type shit?
Yeah. I love doing that.
Okay.
Like, xerography, just messing with Xerox machines. And like to get perfect circles, I use like a button puncher.
Oh, okay. Damn,
So-
you really are an old school pro.
Yeah, like so all the perfect circles that are like weird things in my book, Grid Observer, and some of my other stuff. It's just a button puncher. So that's a fun thing to do. Make weird Xeroxes and just punch circles, and some of them look cool.
So do you have a Xerox machine?
I have access to one.
Okay, gotcha. Because you mentioned it was during COVID, so I didn't know if you like had one during lockdown or something like that. So you did say you went to the woods. Were you just like, I gotta get the fuck out?
Yeah, man. Philly was a fucking shithole peak COVID summer 2020. So yeah.
Hell yeah. So when you went out there, was it just like, were you completely off the grid, or were you still, plugged into the internet and whatnot?
We were pretty off the grid. I mean, it was my partner's dad has land up there. We bought a shitty trailer and we gutted it. And so we just lived on the side of this mountain. So yeah, we had like a well, and he gave us electricity, and we ended up like most of the summer we didn't have internet, but partway through the summer we literally got dial-up internet through a phone line.
Oh fuck! Yeah.
Like it was like in the middle of it was in the Finger Lakes of upstate New York, is the region, wine country, very like MAGA-ville. But we didn't really go into town much.
So one thing that I feel like with comics especially, like I feel like you've always got to be posting, or maybe you don't always have to be, but that feeling of I've always got to be posting and sharing something is definitely present. Was that really hard for you to adapt? You completely, went to this, desolate location away from everything, made sure to, I guess stay offline until, you did get online, I guess, eventually. But even then, it wasn't the same experience. Like, was that any kind of shock, or was it kind of refreshing and nice to not have to play the game, I guess?
It was, I mean, I made it work. I planned stuff out ahead of time because that was right when I was doing my Grid Observer subscription. So I figured it out, and, I even printed one of the books up there. But yeah, it was different. I mean, always be posted. I mean, we would go down to the lake and to like the yacht club, which it sounds funny to say we're hanging out at a yacht club, but it's just, a big plot of land marina that we would have free access to just go swim in there and whatnot. And they had wireless internet. So
hell yeah.
I posted online a few times when I was in the woods.
So you do a subscription, comic, and you're getting ready to start it back up. Do you do Patreon as well, or nah?
I mean, I have one, but I don't really promote it much. I've had one for like 5-6 years. You can sign up for my Patreon. I do update it, but that was just a hustle I wasn't into doing.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is, I like that you do the, old school kind of subscription service. But also, like a lot of people, us included, do that via Patreon. You're like, it's easy to keep track of. Do you feel like, have you ever done any kind of physical tier on your Patreon before to compare it to?
No, but the thing is, like, so I have a subscription model where I just posted about it today where, I'm having, you can sign up for 2023 right now, which will be 4 comics and 6 newsletters and like 4 little zines throughout the year. But for me, it's just easier because like you get all the money right away and you have the list, the name for all year long. Versus if you have Patreon, people come and go month to month. So like each month you have different people you got to send it to, and
right.
I don't know. It just seemed like more of a hassle. Like why not just you pay me once and then you get it all year long, and then just you could decide if you want to buy it again next year. But I don't want to have like too many like ebb and flow of different people and addresses I have to keep track of every year. Like I got it down to I print out the names and then it's just one file and I add a name when I get a name to it, and then that's that.
Yeah, so you pretty much answered any kind of question I would have had. I was just going to talk about, like the pros and cons versus that. So in your experience, that's a better system. And honestly, it sounds like it's more streamlined because like you said, the Patreon, you do have to deal with like monthly, additions and subtractions as well. And it is all up front. So you do the subscription service. Can people sign up like midway through and you just send them everything you've got?
Yep. Yeah,
yeah.
I did this year up until like mid-November, because I was like, all right, if you sign up now, like you just get like all the stuff at once and then one more. So I'm just pushing. You can subscribe for all of 2023. At the end of the year, after I put out December's issue of the newsletter, I'm going to sell packs so you can buy all 12 at once. Because it is like on one side of my newsletter, it's like a serialized comic. And then the other side is, my rants and raves and bullshit and reviews and interviews and all that kind of stuff. So it is like a 12-page comic at the end of the year. So I'll be selling that once that's...
You doing the 11 by 17?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's like an awesome format that I've like noticed a couple people start to do. Like you're doing it. CF is doing it now, Santoro. It is kind of cool because like you said, at the end of the year, you do get like a full comic. And then on the other side, you kind of do whatever you want, rants, raves, whatever you want to do. I mean, I guess you could even do more comics. Someone else does that. Oh, Andy Weiland.
My friend and I hope Derek Jones does that where his is just comics.
Yeah, see, like, and I think it's like such a great, cool fucking format. Like, I hope we see more of it. Honestly, like it's such a cool way to consume comics, like because it kind of has that newspaper feel, like I guess it is a newsletter, but you open it up and it's just like this giant fucking thing. So,
well, I think of it as like the Dave Meltzer type of thing.
Oh yeah,
because that's just like a sheet. I've never really seen that in real life, but it's just like a lot of them are just 1 or 2 sheets, right? And it's just really small print.
I've never seen one, but I figured that they would be like pamphlets just because Dave writes so much. But like I said, I've never seen one. So
I've seen a picture on the internet, but I know like his thing is like do the smallest type you can. Like the type that I have is 8, which most people regular documents are either 12 or 14 point.
Right.
So mine's really small, so I could just like write a lot of shit. So I definitely got that from Dave Meltzer. But yeah, just I also just gotta say Frank Santoro is like the one that, as far as I know, reinvented this format, and I took it from him. So I'm just gonna give him credit.
I thought he might have been first with like the hype pup stuff, but I didn't know if if somebody else had done it. So I didn't want to say it on record. But yeah, if you say it, then I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I asked his permission, and he's the one that gave me the idea to do, because in hype pup, it's just random comic by Connor Williamson in the back. But when I told him I was going to do it, he's like, you should just make a serialized story. So at the end of the year, you have a 12-page comic. I was like, okay. So also give him props for telling me how to do it right.
Did you do time at the Santoro school?
No, but I know him. He's a great guy. I've known him for, over a decade now. And I've drank with him and whatnot. So
hell yeah.
We broke bread.
Yeah, I only met him once at a show, but he's, I think, he has some polarizing takes to people in the community, but all in all, I think Santoro rocks, and I'm glad he's around.
Yeah, back in 10 years ago, he brought around Jaime Hernandez to my studio. We threw a big party, and he had like a little Comic-Con, and it was like a warehouse art collective, so it was a really weird scene, and he brought Jaime Hernandez to this like keg party full of comics and like all the local cartoonists there.
That fucking rocks. Hell yeah.
Who are your guys?
Brian Box Brown and Ian Harker are my two guys, and Roger Bignon and Anuj.
Oh, he fucking rocks.
Stress. I don't know. I always
Bignon, yeah, dude.
Yeah, those are dudes I hang out with. But me, Box, and Ian, we have a group chat. So we're the boys that we complain about our lives together.
Is Box still in Philly?
Yeah.
Give us a Box scoop. Is Retrofit still around, or is it done?
Well, last I heard is it's pretty much it's done. It was like, so Jared, his last name slips me right now, but he was the one, he runs Big Planet Comics in DC. Uh-huh. So he bought out Box, for the last few years of Retrofit. But as far as I know, they're done. When I talked to him last, he was just like, I'm too busy, to do that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll make another book. I don't know. Maybe. And it's just, he had a table at SPX, but nothing new. The newest thing was the stuff from 2018. Because I was supposed to originally put out 7 volumes of Survive 300 Million, and then he stopped publishing. And I was like partway through volume 3, and then I just stopped. gave up on it.
No plans to revisit that?
Nope.
Hell yeah.
Then I made Grid Observer and other books since then, so I don't know.
Do you miss Hidden Fortress?
Yeah. I mean, there's an unreleased issue of issue 5.
Oh yeah, I know. There's a lot of unreleased stuff.
You talking about Screwjob?
I did a 44-page book for him that never got put out either.
Oh shit! Do you still have it?
It's on my website. If you guys could look at my website, it's called Rotoderp, which is the word predator backwards.
Okay.
It was based after the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing parts of this story.
Yeah, I posted it online a whole bunch because I was like, I knew it was never going to get printed. I'm not trying to get it published anywhere at this point. You know, I don't really think it looks that good. Looking back on it now, I drew it in 2000, whatever that was, 17. But yeah, it was a bummer. I did a cool Jushin Liger comic for the unreleased Screwjob.
Damn.
I'm still holding out hope that comes out.
I don't think it's ever happening.
Yeah, it's never. I mean, maybe. Maybe someone could talk him into it. Paul, if you're listening, you know, people are clamoring for the issue of Screwjob. I'll link them.
Just finish it. End of an era, baby. Alrighty. So, we kind of talked what you've got cooking right now, but I do want to kind of back it up. And Screwjob, honestly, Blake Sims is, good friend of the show and one of my, personal best friends, and known him for a while. And my exposure to a lot of like underground comics came from him, including him just being in Screwjob and him being like, yeah, I'm in this. And, I found JB, I found you, Box Brown. I'm trying to think. There's so many, Josh Bayer. There's so many awesome creators that had work in that. But obviously, Screwjob was such a well-defined project. It felt very put together that you obviously were around before that. So I kind of want to talk about, your background, your history, where you came from. So like growing up, were you into comics like as a kid?
Yeah, I loved it. I always wanted to make comics ever since I was a little kid. It's the first thing I wanted to do. So, yeah, I grew up reading comics. And then, I liked wrestling at one point, horror movies, that kind of bullshit, the early internet.
So you were born in the 80s?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the stuff you were growing up reading, what were you getting? Were you doing the Marvel and DC stuff? Were you like an Archie kid?
I was like only Marvel. Like I refused anything else. I really liked Spider-Man, like Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, Mark Bagley Spider-Man. I really loved Mark Bagley when I was a kid, like in elementary school. I'm talking about, Maximum Carnage came out when I was that age. I remember thinking that was the coolest fucking thing ever. Maximum Carnage, and they had the SNES game.
Oh yeah, that game fucking rocked. The side scroller.
Yeah, X-Men, just like Marvel comics. And then by the time I got into high school, I started liking alternative comics and stuff like that, Fantagraphics.
So did you have a shop, or were you like buying it at like a convenience store type deal?
A little bit of both. I mean, I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
There's a lot of Turkey Hill is the store there. They make ice cream and iced tea, which people might recognize, but like every convenience store when I was a kid.
Yeah. Now that you told me what they make, I'm like, yep, I got it.
Yeah, it's from Lancaster. Like they like have them. They're not so much anymore, but they have like the street I grew up on. There was 4 different Turkey Hills that we could just walk to when we were kids, and that sold comics. And we were buying comics there. But I would say,
so it's like a store you can go to.
It's a gas station, like a convenience store. They used to have magazine racks, and they would have a couple comics in there.
Hell yeah!
But I used to go to a comic store when I was a kid. I used to go there's 2 comic stores in Lancaster growing up. One of them doesn't exist anymore, but it was called Captain Blue Hen. It was a church basement, and I'm sure all those comics are just still in that basement right now, so that the store isn't around anymore. And then the other one was like kind of just a regular comic book shop.
That's a trip. So like it was an actual like active church, or was it like an inactive?
I remember going there on Sundays, and it was like a Baptist church, and they were like singing and like stomping on the floor. I was in the basement. I was like, oh my God. Like, cause I went to Catholic church when I was a little kid. So there was no like singing and stomping and stuff. And I was like, what kind of church is that? Kind of blew my mind at the time. But it was like, it was just like a bunch of rooms in a basement with like tons of long boxes, and, like cardboard cutouts of like Elvira, and, like shit like that.
Damn, that had to have been crazy for the Christians to see. Elvira in the church?
Yeah, I remember that when I was a kid. I was like, oh man, who's this woman with like giant boobs? And I'm like looking for Spider-Man comics.
Hell yeah. So were you like a monthly reader? Like, you mentioned the Maximum Carnage storyline. Like, were you like, I got to get the next issue, or was it kind of just like what you can get your hands on?
No, I was a monthly reader, definitely. I used to get subscriptions when I was a kid. So I have like,
okay.
Like they would mail it to you. And I still have all the backing boards. Like they had backing boards, like they would send it to you in like a comic, like a plastic thing you had to open up that had a comic backing board on it, which had your name on address and like a picture of Spider-Man on it. So
okay, so I've always wondered like if they just like came folded in the mailbox and like beat to shit because you know you don't really see that.
Yeah, they would. I mean, my mailman would definitely like fold it up with like magazines and shit. I'm like, this is like a piece of cardboard. Don't fold a piece of cardboard. What are you doing? Like,
yeah, no, so it's pretty insane. Like I think you can actually, if you read the fine print of like Big Two comics, I think you can still subscribe, but they don't really advertise it like they used to. I think they try to get you to go to the shop now.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking weird to like get, I don't know, like I can't, like nowadays I can't picture like getting a Marvel or a DC book in the mail every month. It'd just be a weird experience.
They would fuck it up a lot too. I remember I got a free subscription to like the Avengers at one point, which I never paid for.
Hell yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess I'll read this. I didn't like it, but sure.
So, did you take any kind of, you mentioned getting into alternative comics in high school. What was it like just picking it up off the rack? Do you have a friend that was just like, yeah, you should check this shit out instead?
I figured it out. It's very embarrassing now saying it, but when I was a kid, I used to really like Kevin Smith movies, and he put out Clerks, the comic book. So I was in like the Jay and Silent Bob series, and both those were put out by Oni Press.
Yeah, and the Chasing Dogma book.
Yeah, and then they put out, then I got a bunch of issues of Oni Double Feature. I don't know if you've ever read that, but it was like an anthology, but like they're all bangers. Like from there, I learned who Bill Sienkiewicz was, and then I got a bunch of his books, and then Paul Pope and Mike Allred was in those books. I forget a bunch of other. There's only like 8 issues of it. Jim Mahfood I really liked a lot, and then it just kind of snowballed from there to
yeah. Right. Now, did you pursue any kind of, higher education in art or anything like that post high school?
Yeah, I went to art school.
Okay. Did you study comics or what'd you study there?
No, they didn't really. When I was in art school, they didn't really have comics as a major. I feel like it's a lot more common now. I studied illustration.
Right,
but,
right.
None of my teachers really knew or understood comics. I remember showing my senior teacher Kramer's Ergot 5, I think it was, and showing him CF. And there's like these like weird. That's the one where he has like this. I don't know if you guys your listeners know what in Kramer's Ergot 5, CF has a comic that's like watercolor, but it's on like yellowed paper and they're like kind of raw scans. And I remember showing it to my teacher, and he just ripped it apart. He's like, "What is this shit? They don't even know. They like who would want to read this? Like they don't even know how to like clean up their pages. Like why would you? Like this looks so bad." He just like was flipping through all of Kramer's Ergot 5 and was just like ripping it apart.
Damn.
Like, this is, and then I remember told him, I was like, well, I'd like to make a comic for Fantagraphics. And he's like, they pay peanuts. They don't pay you at all. You got to get a page rate. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, there is something, I guess, to what he was saying, but also but also at the end of the day, like in our neck of the woods, what's a page rate,
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, I went to college. I learned like the skills and stuff, but like it wasn't very, none of my teachers like got what I did necessarily. I was the first student there that I did a comic, of course, as my senior thesis, and it was very like pornographic. I used to do really kind of transgressive stuff, and it was the first thing I had to have a meeting with the dean and like all the teachers and shit, and they had to put up all these warning signs ahead of it, so like whatever kids wouldn't see it because people's families were going to be there. But it was like a big deal at my college at the time.
So did you get any kind of kickback from any, attendees of the show or whatever that it was displayed in?
No, I mean, it was just like, it was my college senior thesis and shit. Like my parents and shit were there. Like, it was like, oh, let's check out my kid who just graduated college. Like, it's not like who goes to a senior thesis show if you don't go to the school.
Right.
Pedophiles.
Hell yeah. So, were you putting out like mini comics or anything like that while you were in college?
Yeah. I mean, I started putting out mini comics when I was in high school, and I continued to do it throughout college. I put out like almost one a semester, basically. I was trying to do then.
So, backing up to the high school stuff, were you printing this stuff for consumption or just like a couple copies here and there for you and a couple buddies?
I made a bunch. I wrote about it a bit in my newsletter at one point, but me and my friends, we would steal so many copies from Staples, because back then they used to have write your own receipt, which sounds like silly now, but we would pay for like $3, but we would like walk away with like a giant box of thousands of prints. And we put out a bunch of zines then. And then we started throwing like local concerts and like hardcore shows at the Jewish Community Center.
Mm-hmm.
And we would call them like zine release shows. So I would come up with these zines and like kind of forcibly sell like 200 copies to all these people going to like hardcore shows.
Smart, honestly.
All when I was like 16 and 17.
Yeah. Did you get any kind of a following from that?
No, not really. As far as I know, nobody is just showing up being like, hey, I have these comics you made when you were in high school. But no, I'm sure some of my friends I don't really talk to that were in those zines, they probably, remember it or remember who I am at least.
Yeah. So you mentioned that, growing up, the first thing you ever wanted to do was make comics, and obviously it's still what you do. And you were making them through high school, so it's always been there. When did the switch, flip where you were like, okay, I'm fully in? Like, was that in high school, or was it, post art school? You're like, this is what I love. I'm going to continue to do this. Like, when did you decide to go all in on it?
I guess like shortly after college, when I realized, I went to college for illustration, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll do magazine covers and whatever, band albums and stuff, and that'll be my day job, and then I'll draw comics too. But, I would never really became a proper illustrator, so comics were mainly the main type of art form I did after college. I've always wanted to do it, and then I've, all throughout my 20s, I worked as a chef. And then, I also worked as a teacher too. And then it wasn't until I was like 30 when I was like, all right, I'm done working in the kitchen. I'm only going to have art related jobs from then on. So I've been like an art teacher since then, which is kind of my day job. But, it's at least I'm using my art degree is the way I think about it. But yeah, I guess, comic, when I, meet people, I'll say, yeah, I draw comics. I don't really want to explain to them my day job as a teacher. But,
I identify as a cartoonist first in my career path.
Yeah.
So, off topic, I also kicked around restaurants for like a decade. What do you think of The Bear, the Hulu show The Bear? Did you watch it?
No, I haven't watched it, and like I don't want to watch it.
Dude, yeah, it's for people that have like chef life knuckle tats.
Yeah, like I don't really like it's like I feel like I've been in and around like other subcultures that is just like I don't want to be like that at all. Like I've met enough like dudes that went to culinary school that like smoke like 2 packs a day and do cocaine all the time. And just like, it's just, like, I don't, it's like, cool, I'll like hang out with you maybe once or twice, but you like spend your whole paycheck like at the bar you work at. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. And people just get stuck in it, like you said. And I guess the show does kind of show that. But no, I thought the show was very, somebody read an Anthony Bourdain book once and, wanted to become a chef. And they made a TV show about it. But, yeah, no, I just wanted to get some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do like cooking. I enjoy cooking, and I see the artistic quality in it and the kind of cultural impact and how to share cultures and stuff through, the art of cooking and whatnot. But I don't know. I'm not that into the scene or whatever.
Now, are you teaching comic stuff or?
Yeah, I teach. I've taught adult comic classes since 2014.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I feel like I have like a lot of like decent students out there, adult students. But I teach, I teach comics to kids too. But I also teach just like a ton of just kid art classes. I was teaching a painting class to kindergartners earlier today,
Okay.
So it's just like general, like I'll just take any kind of art teaching job. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be comics. I could teach it all.
So are these like little one-off gigs, or are they like, are you like signing on for like semesters at a time?
Yeah, it's like, I sign contracts that are just like for 10 weeks at a time, but it's like the same places I work, like for years and years and years. I work at this place called Fleischer Art Memorial in Philadelphia for over 10 years now. And I work at this other place called Arts League, University City Arts League, both of which have both adult and like kid art classes, so I always do those for semesters. I'll teach like 8 to 12 classes a semester, but sometimes they put me in schools. You know, I teach at like elementary schools or middle schools and charter schools and stuff here and there during the day. All sorts of shit. It's like, you know, when I tell people, it's like, yeah, I'm a freelance teacher. Like, well, what does that mean exactly? It's like, I don't work in like, you know, I'm not in the public school or anything like that. I just,
right.
Every semester is different. And in the summer, I do summer camps too. And that's where I make the most money because I work every day, all day long, doing art camps and stuff.
And you're just like kind of just connected at this point. You kind of just have like a schedule, like, oh, I know they need work here at this time. I need work, you know, or they need work at this time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in my career, like I just get people people just ask me to do jobs.
Right on.
All the time.
Hell
so
yeah.
I don't really have to look for work very often. For teaching, that is.
Right.
What's your go-to meal to cook?
Or
what do you think you're like the best at?
Oh God, these are really tough questions. I kind of answer for both, I guess. But I always make leftover patties, which is just whatever I ate last night, and I fry it up with, you know, some starch and flour and salt, and make basically potato pancakes, but with my leftovers of whatever I ate the night before. And it could be something weird. Like I've like, you know, even like ramen with like broccoli and tofu. You just put it in a blender till it's paste. You mix it with like flour and put like an egg in there too. And then you could just make these like big kind of, I mean, I ripped it off of potato latke recipe.
Right.
But just instead of potato, just leftover paste.
Space food.
Yes. I like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. I like frying shit, you know? I like cooking with coconut milk a lot too.
Are you veggie or vegetarian? Vegan?
Yes, I am vegetarian.
Okay. So, but if somebody were to come to your house and you had to make them food, are you making them a patty, or are you gonna throw it down on something else?
I mean, I have dinner parties. I usually make some sort of curry, coconut curry, big noodle bowl, or I make a really good mac and cheese that has like 20 different types of cheeses in it. It's like really crispy with, you know, scallions and crispy onions and stuff. You know, I cook a lot of Brussels sprouts a lot. I make a lot of good sauces for Brussels sprouts, I guess. I don't know. I just trying to think of my diet. I eat onions all the time. I make eggs all the time. I worked as a like an early morning chef one time for like 6 months or so. And we would have to do like 200 eggs a day. And we had like 8 different, I think it's 8 different ways to make an egg.
Yeah, there's poached, over easy, over medium, over hard, scrambled,
omelet,
yeah,
hard boiled,
soft boiled, yeah.
Poached is the weird one because you have to, that was the one
slotted spoon, right?
Yeah, and like over medium is kind of hard to do, like real easy over medium. And then
because it's just like you got to hit that sweet spot.
You have to flip the yolk without breaking it. That's the difficult part, but I got really good at that at that time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I still eat eggs every day. Fuck yeah, I stand for eggs.
Yeah, good source of protein.
All right, this is Egg Chat.
I always go over easy when I order at a restaurant. What do y'all do?
Sunny side up. Sunny side up.
Unless I'm at Waffle House, I do scrambled with cheese.
Oh, I asked the chef. I say, what's your preferred egg?
What's your egg of the day?
What are you not going to fuck up, brother?
Yeah, it depends. I got a lot of omelets. I definitely love omelets, but over medium is good to dip your bread in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is sunny side up over easy?
No, there's a difference. Yeah, sunny side up is you like kind of fried. You never flip it. You just fucking kind of fry the bottom.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, so the top can kind of be more runny, and sometimes it's a little raw. But what I do is sometimes I'll just cover the pan, and you kind of get an over easy sunny side up hybrid.
Yes,
because the steam cooks the top.
That's my go-to.
Yeah, that's the move. If I'm cooking at home, yeah.
I would like to learn how to poach an egg properly, but it feels like, I don't know, it's a lot of steps.
It's
I don't
just
think
not even
it's not worth it. Yeah, it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah.
It's cool, like, if you're making, like, a Benedict or something, you know? Like, that's the only time you need a poached egg. But even then, you know, it'd be just as fine, in my opinion, with an over easy. But poached is nice. Well, you guys want to get into some Graps chat for a second?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Pat, one of your recent books that just came out, your site says it's pre-order, but I thought I saw some kicking around somewhere.
Oh, whoops! I should change that on my site. It's definitely, you could buy it.
Yeah, the Wrestling 2-in-1 book, which has an Onita story as well as a Road Warriors story. So obviously, those are both kind of older wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to make air, but you did say you kind of pay attention to AEW and WWE. But have you been like a lifer with it, or have you kind of went in and out?
I've been in and out. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved it when I was in middle school. Like,
Same.
When I was in middle school, it was like, 98, 99. I watched like all those Raws, like Stone Cold and The Rock and Mankind. So I was like of that generation, like at the perfect age of like South Park shirts and DX shirts getting banned from school. And then, by the time I was in high school, I stopped watching it. And I kind of stopped giving a shit about it for a long time. Not until 2013 or 14, when Box wrote the Andre the Giant book. He was like, there's like a bunch of wrestling shows in Philly. We should go. And then we just started to go. Because I live right by the ECW arena, like within walking distance of that place. And they have like wrestling shows every week.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, a bunch. So we went there.
So you've been there?
Yeah, they kind of redid it. They don't have like bleacher stadiums anymore the way they used to when you see it like in old ECW tapes or whatever. But they do a lot of Ring of Honor shows there. It's all right. It's just kind of like it's kind of fancy, or not fancy, but they do have like they do wrestling and like cage matches and stuff. But every other night of the week they do like I don't know how much of like Mexican people you have living in where you guys live, but there's like a big population in South Philly, and they always have these posters everywhere that you might see where they're like crazy neon colors, and there's like 6 bands on it, and each band has like 10 guys, and they're all wearing matching cowboy hats, and it's like crazy big fonts. People from Philadelphia will know what I'm talking about, but it's a very unique kind of graphic design style. But yeah, they do those shows at the ECW arena where there's like 10 Mexican bands that it's like a party all day long.
That rules.
Yeah, so it's a versatile space.
Hell yeah. So what are you liking in current wrestling? We were we just watched we were watching JB wasn't here. I watched Survivor Series recently.
Yeah, that was I did watch. I mean, I kind of watch. I like half-heartedly watch it. I can like John at the same time. I
play video games or draw while I'm fucking watching wrestling.
Yeah, I did watch Survivor Series last night, but I couldn't even tell you who even wrestled. I mean, it was Roman Reigns and his crew won in that big cage match. I mean, that was all pretty stupid. I don't know. Wrestling is like, I mean, I like it. I watch it, but like, if you're like, what's good wrestling? I'm like, I kind of think it all sucks, but I still watch it anyways. Yeah, I mean, some of the AEW stuff's cool. I mean, the whole drama with CM Punk was just like great. I mean, I feel like I like that stuff more than actually wrestling itself.
Yeah, like the backstage stuff.
Yeah,
AEW is like a fucking circus right now. It kind of rocks.
Yeah.
You think the Punk stuff's a work? I think it was real, but I see him coming back. You think he's gonna come back?
I don't know. I was thinking, like, well, I don't know. I was thinking about it. I don't think it's a work at all. And he does seem like a fucking dick. Like in every other interview and documentary of him, he always seems like an asshole.
Yeah.
So, because I remember when WWE put out a documentary, when he was still working there, he just came off as like an asshole, even though he wasn't. They were like trying to do that, I guess, but
dude, it was so cringe because I'll never forget. Like he was like, my real friends, Lars Fredrickson from Rancid, and he just names all these people that he's like name dropping. I'm like, those people all fucking suck, dude.
Yeah, that scene exactly. When he said he likes that, he's like, oh, I hang out with the guitarist from Rancid. That's my friend. I'm just like, what? Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
So cheesy. Get out of here.
Yeah. Anyone surprised that he has shitty taste in music, though, is really playing themselves.
Yeah, I mean, all wrestlers have terrible taste in music.
Except Zack Sabre Jr. That guy actually has good taste in music. So much so that I think there was like whatever you think about Pitchfork, but Pitchfork actually they wrote an article being like, this guy actually has like decent taste in music and listens to shoegaze bands. And they like interviewed him about like what he listens to.
Oh, wow. Good for
yeah.
him.
But besides that, though, yeah, wrestling is just like the worst. It's like the dumbest CTE riddled motherfuckers with like the worst taste in music.
Yeah, or like fucking Chris Jericho and shit. Yeah. God, it's so stupid when people sing his song. Like that's like the worst song. Like why does everyone want to sing along to like this like shitty song for this like 50-something-year-old
I can't think of anything like worse than getting caught on AEW camera singing that song.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, you know what though? Admittedly, I'd probably be singing the song, and then once I noticed the camera was on me, I'd be like, you know, I do the Jonah Hill gif. Alrighty, well, we're at that part of the show where we cover listener questions, and as always, if you want to participate in the show with our guests, you can send questions to us at gutterboyspodcast@gmail.com, or we put up little questionnaire things on Instagram. You can follow us at gutterboyspod to check that out, or us personally. But first question came from previous guest and friend of the show, Nate Garcia. Patrick, what did you have for breakfast today? Be honest.
Today, I mean, usually I don't. I like breakfast, but a lot of times I don't eat breakfast, and I'll just eat like one thing later in the day. But today I did get a nice bagel, everything bagel from this local Mexican bakery called Las Rosas, and they make the fucking best bagel. And it's hard for me to explain to people. I was like, you guys ever have like a Mexican bagel? Because they're really good, and they make the best bagels there. Las Rosas, South Philly.
You do cream cheese?
Just butter.
Butter only.
I do like cream cheese though. I like fancy cream cheese too, veggie cream cheese and stuff like that. But today was the butter day. You know?
Strawberry cream cheese is probably my favorite flavored cream cheese. Pretty basic pick, but I do enjoy it a lot.
Interesting. You can always pour honey on it too. Putting salt on cream cheese is always good too.
Yeah, for sure. You're not vegan, right? Just vegetarian?
Yeah, I love eggs.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah, we did egg chat. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Instagram user Birth Heine asked, Pat, what's your best tweet composed on the toilet?
I mean, I don't make any good tweets at all. I'm not that good at Twitter, but the only one that I can think of is one that the only like good tweet I've had that more than like 10 people liked is the one I sent. I just said they should make a Gru omnibus book, which I think is true. A lot of people like that, reblogged that. I love Sergio Aragonés. I think he's awesome. But you can't buy a big book of Gru, which I think you should.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they only have like in the Epic put out some graphic novels of them. They're just like 4 issues in each one. But, you know, there's like 100 some issues of that. They should just have you should be able to buy Gru easily.
Hell yeah. I agree though. Alrighty. Instagram user, previous guest of the show, Alvstagram, Ryan Alves said, top 3 favorite bad action movies.
I did think about this question. I mean, first of all, I don't think there's like, if there's a movie that I like, I don't think it's a bad movie because I like it. So, but I do understand what he's trying to say. But I also don't like calling stuff bad when it's like, I like this movie. It's not bad to me. But anyways, to answer that question, also this week, Albert Payun died. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But he did the movie Cyborg, and I really like that movie. And I based a lot of scenes and stuff in my one character and survived 300 million after the movie Cyborg. And then also, I really like Commando with Arnold. I mean, I really do love a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, but that's like my favorite of his like B movies, you know. I mean, he's done a lot of better movies than that, but you know, as far as like his bad movies, Commando is great. And I don't know. What's the third one? Oh, I also really like the Fist of the North Star live action movie from the 90s with all like American people.
Oh shit, I never saw that.
Did you ever see that? Yeah. It's really good. They have really good real life effects, like what are those called? Like not computer.
Practical effects.
Practical effects. Yeah, when like people's head blows up and stuff, and like he like pokes them with the fingers and puts holes in their chest, and like just blood spews out of them like crazy.
Hell
it's just like this cheesy like 90s dude with like a big mullet, and then I don't know, if you haven't seen that movie, it's really good.
And it was made in America.
Yeah, and there's like some like you'll recognize some of the character actors in the background.
Huh. All right. Hell yeah. Probably have to download that one. I can't see that one streaming anywhere.
You can find it free on YouTube. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It's free on YouTube. It was straight to VHS, like 1994. It's you know. It's cool as hell.
Did they have white people acting Asian and doing appropriation? I hope so.
I don't think so.
Boo.
Maybe. I'd have to rewatch it. I don't even think they have any Asian people in it at all.
We took an L on that, JB.
Win, baby. A win is a win.
Yeah. They didn't represent us. They didn't represent the culture in it, JB. Maybe we shouldn't watch it. No. Hell yeah. All right. You got next question?
All right. This is not a question. This is more of a shout out. Friend of the show, Blake. Big Blake. What's up, Blake? He says, thanks, Pat, for getting me into Screwjob.
Or actually, hang on.
Thanks, Pat, for getting me into screw job.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blake.
Yeah,
awesome
shout out Blake.
cartoonist.
Hell yeah.
Next question, which is an actual question. Instagram user Grace Kale.
What up,
They
Grace?
ask, what themes are you tired of exploring? How do you balance a horror vacuum in your work? Oh yeah, what themes have you not yet touched in your work that you want to?
I don't know if there's any themes that I'm like getting tired of doing. My main theme is just like a person getting lost and walking around, and I just, I'll never get sick of that. But the next one I want to do that I haven't done yet is, I guess you could call it I call it a Kafka story, because you guys know Kurt Vonnegut, the sci-fi writer. You could probably look it up online, but he did a bunch of college classes, and he wrote a bunch of like blog posts and stuff in the early 2000s. And he had this thing about the 7 types of stories, where it's like a chart. It's like the man walks up a hill, which is like you start off poor and you get rich, and then you fall down the hill and then you get poor again, and like rags to riches, and like Romeo and Juliet, this and that. But there's one he called a Kafka story, which is like it just gets worse and worse and worse, where you start out fine and then it gets worse and it never gets better, and then it's just forever misery.
Right, the Book of Job effect.
Yeah, so I have a script of a funny. Well, to me it's funny, but it's a sad story about like a Italian American pizza man. It just gets bad for him.
Is that something you're going to work on or something?
Yeah, eventually, sometime next year. But yeah, that's the one thing I haven't done yet, is like a really kind of just like purposely sad story.
Yeah.
Which is my next genre I want to do. Man falling down forever.
Hell yeah, sounds interesting.
Man getting hit in balls with football.
Yes. Over and over again on repeats.
Repeatedly, yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, last question came from Instagram user Andre RSC_collecting. I have a question for Pat. Will we get to see more of the Zone Keeper and Grid Observer characters, and will they ever meet each other? Much love.
Yes and yes. The 2023 subscription, another promo for that, is the story will start to connect them a little bit. In Zone Keeper, there is a page in there when he's looking at all the different zone dimensions, and you can see Grid Observer in one of them sneakily in there. But they are like kind of like, the premise of Zone Keeper is like there's all these different alternative dimensions, which is he calls zones, and then so Grid Observer is in one of those zones, and they're gonna fuck with them. But yeah, the 2023 subscription, there's a comic I'm doing called Prox. I don't even know I could pronounce it in real life. I just look up these words. It's like a math word, but it's proximal hunter is what it's going to be called. And that character has to hunt down Grid Observer, and then Zone Keeper is going to get involved. But yeah, not to spoil everything. But yeah, they're all going to meet up next year's subscription comic.
Hell yeah. So you kind of teed that up perfectly. Before we get out of here today, where can people get your stuff? We kind of talked about it throughout the show, but direct people to your stuff. Where can they find you online, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, I mainly post on Instagram at Dude Comics, which has all my links to my web store where you can buy my comics and get subscriptions for year round. I have a website that, has a bunch of my old comics, just my name, Pat Aulisio, which is PATAULISIO.com. So yeah, you can email me. Feel free to email me, yadudecomics@gmail. So you just look up Dude Comics. That's who I am.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks again, Pat, for coming on the show. It's good finally getting to have you on. I know we've been meaning to do that for a while now. Sorry it took so long.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Always got more stuff coming out.
Never stops.
We're looking forward to it. All right, yeah, well, that'll do it. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, stay gutter.